up degenerates. Casterline, in one sentence, what is Keijo about?
Oh, fuck. That's really actually tough. Keijo is a story about friendship and perseverance.
No, fuck you. God damn it, that's not what it's about. In a sense, that's true. In a sense, Casterline is right. But more accurately, what is the main action in Keijo?
All right. Keijo is a story surrounding a group of teens getting into the professional world of Tiddy and Ass wrestling. Fuck yeah! This is like...
Yeah, baby. Hello, everybody. I'm Pax.
I'm Hal.
And this is Brotakus, the show where two guys who love anime do a deep dive on what is and isn't worth watching. We believe you don't need a major in anime studies to enjoy this wild, beautiful, strange art form, and we're lucky to have you on this journey with us. We're so lucky. We love you. Our guest today, I am so excited, one of my best friends of all time, Casterline Villar, is a New York-based actor, writer. You could find her on Instagram and Facebook at Casterline Villar, or on Twitter at Casterline with 4 E's. We're going to put that in the show notes. You can hear her in the Meet Cute podcast. You can watch her in an upcoming TV series. And we'll update you through our social media when that comes out. Casterline is brilliant, chaotic, gorgeous, hot, amazing, smart, good brain, best brain. Casterline, how you doing today? Yes, hello.
I need you to hype me up for everything.
Yes, okay, good. Big wrestler energy. We're the fucking Brotakus, baby. It's the Brotakus.
Fucking Brotakus.
So you might notice careful listeners may notice something about this episode, which is that you can see us. You can fucking see us this time. And so this, if all goes well, which knowing me, it will not.
It will.
This will be our first video podcast. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening on your favorite podcasting app, as you normally do, you may continue to do so. We will always have it up there. But if you prefer to have the gay weeb version of the Joe Rogan experience, if you like that video podcast, you want to see people up there talking about ape energy, brain omegas, and are you an alpha or sigma or an omega male? I'm an Omicron male. Hal, what kind of male are you?
I've been following it. I've been like, I have to know. Am I a beta and am I an alpha and I'm a sigma? Am I an Decepticon male? What am I?
Wait, I don't even know what this is. What is?
You don't know about the male types?
Yeah, you don't know what kind of male you are?
You don't know about the male types?
Okay, well, let me just give you a quick
What kind of male am I?
Yeah, so there's alpha, there's beta, there's I forget the other one. And then there's Omega. And Omega is like the bottom of the bottom. Alpha's the top of the top. But then there's a new one.
New male just dropped.
New male. So it's called a Sigma male.
Male.
Sigma is kind of synonymous with alpha male, except Sigma males just don't give a fuck and they don't need to adhere to the social hierarchy that other males adhere to. They just get babes anyway, just because they're so hot and they don't even know it. It's kind of like the One Direction song, "You don't know you're beautiful," except you're like hot as fuck and you're ripped and you're...
Well, to clarify, to be clear, the alpha male is the lion. The alpha male is the 800-pound lion in the jungle. The alpha male seeks to consume and dominate. But the sigma male is not below or above the alpha. The sigma male is right on the same level. Parallel, new type of male, parallel integration male. So the sigma's like the tiger. The sigma's like the John Wick. It doesn't seek to consume, but it just can't help conquering. But it's a lone wolf type. It's a lone wolf type.
So it's a wolf and a tiger? Yo, it's a tiger wolf, dude.
Dude, I'm a fucking I'm a fucking tiger. So combine to both be a fucking liger male, bro.
I go.
All the real ones out there.
Fucking male I am.
All the real ones out there. Well, you're a liger male. You combine the best traits of both, and you're infertile, baby. Liger male. Boom.
I'm fucking infertile. I fucking love infertility.
I fucking love it. It all ends with me. I only got one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. So, exactly. So, Cass, already this energy that you are known for is coming in here. Quick check-in, Cass. How you doing? Where you coming to us from?
I am coming to you live from New York City. I am currently living in Astoria. For those that don't know me, I was actually born and raised in the Bronx of New York City, went to high school there and all that up until our college experience where I met y'all fine people. So, I'm out here. I'm performing as much as I can, doing as much work as a artist that I can find and just kind of sinking my teeth into whatever comes.
Ooh. Hell yeah. Ooh, Speaking of sinking your teeth into whatever comes, this is a very relevant sentence for the show we're talking about today, right, Kaz?
Facts. Abso-fucking-lutely. This shit is fucking
bananas. So, Hal, you're the one who suggested this. Explain yourself.
Okay, so years ago, I forget when exactly this was, but I remember scrolling through YouTube because I'm one of those YouTube consumers where I watch like bits of shows in order to I can watch multiple clips, kind of like our good friend Michael Flanagan. I'll consume like the first episode of the show and then the last episode of the show, and then I will only watch fight clips in between. And I came across this show while looking up like crazy battle anime. And after watching a few clips of that, I said to Pax one day, I was like, yo, if we're out of ideas, if we're looking for something just a little fucking crazy, let's just put this out.
If we've ever hit rock bottom, we have nothing else to do.
Right. And
welcome to rock bottom, baby.
Yeah, here we are. Casterline, just to be clear, you are not our rock bottom, but the show, well. Anyway, so when I saw the show, it was something that I thought would be like worst case scenario, but I'm super excited to do it today because I think the three of us can all agree that this was way different than we thought it was going to be, while simultaneously being exactly what we thought it was going to be.
Great description.
Absolutely.
We talking Keijo, known as, I believe, Hip Whip Girl in Japan, and romanized as Keijo with 5 exclamation points. And I didn't think getting into this that we were going to have a sudden Keijo superfan in our midst, but Cass, could you tell me how quickly you got into this? Because I couldn't believe when you were telling me. Because the whole thing, I knew I needed to have you on for this. I knew I needed to have you on because of your energy, because of just what you bring out in me and what you bring out in people. And I wanted to come into this saying, this is just what all anime is. It's just like this show. But what is Keijo?
Okay, where do I even begin? All right, thank you so much for having me on this show, first of all. I am so excited. And I actually started watching it just yesterday. And I breezed through 2 hours of it. I watched half the series immediately because as soon as I hit the first episode, I was like, this is going to be problematic.
Yeah.
And then I was like, and then it just like continued on. And after a while, I'm like the fucking hormone monster. I'm like, yeah, give me more. I'm like, I need to fucking see where this goes. I have to know how it ends. Like, I just got invested, and more out of the curiosity of that balance, like you said, Hal, of how like it's everything that you knew it was going to be, but there's so many unexpected things that come along the way. So I definitely felt that as soon as you jump into that first episode. But I did make it up to episode 8. I think there are 12 in the entire season. But after this, I will be finishing. I will be caught up. Okay.
Maybe we can petition to have a season 2. I don't know if that's in the works yet, Pax.
I think season 1, I got the gist of it.
No, you sure? I was ready for seasons up to 4, so I think we should push Casterline. What do you think?
Absolutely. Okay. Listen, Hal, I think you and I are on the same page. Like, we're here for the plot as much as...
Absolutely.
We're totally
here for the plot.
Yeah, we're here for the chaotic energy it brings and the, problematic issues at hand.
Okay, you fucking horned.
Every 8-year-old's dream.
Yeah. I guess if you're like a weird ass 8-year-old, so I will let me hit y'all with the synopsis. So this series is set in an alternate reality where a new women-only gambling sport known as Keijo becomes a fad in Japan. Keijo matches are held atop floating platforms referred to as a land in large water-filled stadiums where swimsuit-clad players fight to incapacitate their opponents or push them out of the water. But they can only hit each other using their titty meat or their ass meat. Nozomi Kaminashi gives up her dream of competing in the Olympics to become a Keijo player. She was dreaming of the Olympics, and she's like, nah, I want to get rich. I'm going to titty wrestling. I'm going to titty wrestling. And she just wants to earn a lot of money. So as she enters the world of Keijo, she makes new friends while learning that the way to fame and fortune in a new uncommon sport has more challenges than she could ever imagine. And so that's the history of Keijo. So, Hal, can you hit us with some of like the hype around Keijo? Because this is an infamous anime, right?
Yeah. I mean, infamous is probably the best word that I would use to describe it. So, like Keijo. So, one thing that you told that you have down here that I just didn't know, it has 18 volumes of a manga.
18
Keijo
volumes.
Does?
Yep.
18 volumes.
18 volumes.
And 175 chapters, which. You would think that for TNA wrestling, I feel like one chapter would be sufficient in order to tell you like what the fuck is going on here, and I guess not. So it was published in Weekly Shonen Sunday, which is a weekly shonen publication that came out on Tuesday, now Wednesdays. But the word Sunday in its title was supposed to be like, oh, this is a relaxing weekend for TNA wrestling.
Yeah, Weekly Shonen Sunday. It's like Sunday's almost like a cool English word where it's like, oh, Sunday vibes. It's like, oh, I would love to imagine it's Sunday on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Just a weird ass name for it. Weird ass name.
Yeah. So the magazine has been going for 61 years. 61 years. Can you?
Which is huge. And
what?
And So Shonen Jump and like its subsidiaries. Well, I actually don't know if it's related to Jump. I think it is. Because it has many subsidiaries. There's like Ultra Jump. There's like different things under the publication title.
So hang on. Could I possibly see a crossover of Keijo and like Naruto? Could I possibly see that happening?
I'm sure there's many pornographic subreddits where you definitely can.
Not for me.
There's
a friend asked me earlier what I.
It already exists, I'm sure, somewhere.
Yeah. And
so
in Weekly Shonen Sunday, the only two titles that I've ever heard of in there are Case Closed and Detective Conan, which like I've never watched, but I know that they're like long-running detective series. But then they have 27 other current active series that I've never heard of before in my fucking life, and one of them is Keijo. And so immediately the listenership should be like, okay, well, Tiddy and Ass Wrestling, this sounds extremely fucked up and problematic. And it is, but it's nothing like his previous manga. Can I share what his previous manga was about?
Uh-huh.
It's way worse sounding. Okay. So, and Keijo is surprisingly, it has more of like a cult following. It wasn't very popular. It was canceled early. It was something where he had some conflict with his publisher. But it is now currently one of the top 500 most popular anime in my anime list with an average score of 7 despite only receiving one season. And it was cut off early, but his previous manga, and he hasn't made one after this, but his previous manga is called Momi Baraishi. In Momi Baraishi, the synopsis of it goes, there are demons who prey on beautiful young women and possess them. Fortunately, there's a magic user roaming the city who could banish them, but he needs to make physical contact with the women in order to banish the monster. Specifically, with their breasts.
Yeah.
This is the story of the traveler and his witch companion, grabbing titties and banishing ghosts. So,
which is like the only way to do it, I guess.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say, compared to literally creating a fucking manga that's predicated on like, my manga's about a guy. Oh my god, there's literally like a Louis C.K. bit about this of like a superhero who could save the world, but only by assaulting women. Like, it's like there's literally a bit made by, known demon Louis C.K. about this. And to think that like you'd make an actual series about like, I need to commit sexual assault in order to banish demons is literally the most offensive thing I've ever heard in my life. And so
it's actually disgusting. Yes.
Yeah.
It's so funny how common that kind of thing, you see it in stories all the time, And I guess that's what I mean by like, do writers after a while think like, yes, of course, this is the logical thing to write. This is like what society
I don't think that
needs.
Logical writers do that. I personally think that it's a big old, let's see, I don't know.
Let's see
What's
how
the
it
worst that
affects
can happen?
people, and and if they hate it, they hate it.
I feel like writing a manga like this would be synonymous with like pulling the pin on a fragmentation grenade and tossing it into a crowded room and shutting the door and just seeing what's left when you open it back up. It's just
Oh my God.
awful.
So let's get into the awful carnage of Keijo, shall we, guys?
Yeah, let's
Absolutely. Let's go.
So, everybody, we're talking about Keijo today. We are talking about the weird world of titty ass wrestling.
Yep.
Cass, you being our now resident Keijo expert, having watched the most of this, we're relying on your expertise. So give us the initial pitch of like what the setup is, what people can expect in the first few episodes.
Okay, so actually, in the first few episodes, I think that there are really wonderful qualities, such as character development and relationships between the characters. And
Character
really
development.
immersing character development and like really immersing these characters into the world. So I think it's really, really good at first in fooling you and thinking this is going to be some kind of regular, beautiful animation of anime that we're going to see, because you hop into it and I think it is visually beautiful. I was very impressed myself, and I know that's something that you noticed as well, Pax, is how beautiful the animation actually was. But I think that as we go on,
vibrant.
we immerse
it's
ourselves.
Extremely gorgeous.
Yeah, for sure. And I know a lot of people are always talking about how insane anime food is, but I think that everything in this, I always latched onto everything, just like the steam, the beautiful things they did with the clouds, and just scenery everywhere was beautiful. But we then immerse ourselves into the nitty gritty of what this sport means. And it mostly revolves around that. Everything in these characters' lives revolves around Keijo. And it's so fascinating how equally empowering and diminishing it can be to see these characters experience their life revolving around this fucking sport, this sport that you can go pro in. And so when we open into the episode, you're meeting a bunch of characters and you realize right away how Keijo is their life. You don't even hear them. Like, I think I've heard maybe briefly 2 or 3 characters talk about their families. And they talked about how performing Keijo, fighting in these Keijo matches is bringing honor to their family.
Right, yeah.
And they are going to make a name for themselves for whatever small village they come from. And they are going to be the ones to rise to the top. And people are never going to forget who they are because of this really moving, powerful sport that they're a part of. Yes, I don't even know where else to go with it without revealing too much. But
I'm going to
yes,
go
we
ahead.
are on the land.
Oh, no. So I'm going to go ahead and say we can reveal as much as we fucking want, because the point of this is not the plot twists. Because even if you hear exactly what the Cerberus ass means, or okay,
Sure.
let's all try to go in and remember some of the attacks that happen in here, because there are these big, beautiful anime powered up like attacks with and again, only titty and ass hits. So I'm thinking of butt cannon. And
I'm losing my mind. The butt Gatling. I'm losing
Butt
my mind.
Gatling. Butt Gatling.
The bust to bust attack. Like something. Oh my God.
Butt to bust
Okay,
attack.
the beautiful, the really,
The
really,
butt
really
guillotine.
fascinating. So there is like an actual skill to these, this kind of combat. So this Keijo, yes, you can only use your breasts or your buttocks to hit your opponent on this floating piece of land, this floating kind of just like stage on water. And you have to knock your opponent into the water. And oh man, my tailbone hurts just like thinking about it. Like, oh my gosh, these little humans in their frail bodies, the way they're animated, and just like these really insanely large breasts or small or large buttocks or small breasts or small buttocks. There's such a variety in there, but the absolute sheer athleticism behind putting your body into these matches to get points and essentially be the best ass and titty wrestler. I don't know. I think this definitely affects their psychology of how they also view themselves, because we then fall into these characters revealing their insecurities and the things that are they're kind of distraught with inside of themselves, and a lot of it surrounding them in their own bodies, and that meaning everything,
Totally.
And if I can just add on to that, the sport itself is so intricate. There are so many different parts. It's a real sport. It's a team. So like they talk about teamwork. They talk about each position that you have. So like the way that like in football, there's like a quarterback, a lineman, a running back, like all of that. In Keijo, each player, I think they're like 4-person teams. You each have like your own position. You can be like an infighter, an outfighter, a counter.
And something else. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the fourth one, but I think that's what the main character.
The hoarder backer.
Yeah.
The hoarder
heavy
back.
on the whore.
And essentially what these you're given these positions based on your physical attributes and what your skill set enables you to do. So like if you're really fast, you're going to be the outfighter, and you're going to be like ducking, dipping, dodging and diving and juking these people, breaking ankles and relying on your speed. If you're an infighter, you're like a big beefy boy, chick, and then because women only, and you're just going to rely on brute strength to take out your opponents. Counters are pretty much synonymous with judo, which is just using your opponent's momentum against them.
Which is addressed in this anime.
Yeah, they use it a lot.
Yes, they address judo and how Keijo is almost like on the same level of respect of judo.
Judo, yeah.
Okay, so I think that this is a good time to kind of pivot into because on one end we have things that are kind of like direct, like horny adaptations of previous anime tropes. Like the butt gatling is very much like the Monkey D. Luffy, like Gomu Gomu, like Gum Gum Rockets. And they even have, I think in the first episode there's the girl with the pink hair who does the like Ome wa shinderu moment.
Oh yeah,
and, you know.
Yeah.
And
already
and
dead.
And Omo wa shinderu means it's like a meme phrase that we use, but it means you're already dead. And it's from this old anime Fist of the North Star, where the main character, Ken Star, he had this like he would like hit you in 1,000 points, like pressure points, and he'd go and the enemies would be like, huh, what the fuck was that? You didn't do anything, and they'd be standing, and he'd go,
I totally know what this is.
And he'd go, what, Hal?
Ome wa shinderu. And then they'd be like, Nani? And then
and they just like burst and
they literally explode.
Yeah, and so Pink Hair Girl has this Ome wa shinderu moment with these people, because she'll just stand there and then suddenly it's like whoosh, like a burst of energy. Where did she go? And it's like, oh, she just knocked somebody unconscious with her titties and they fall to the ground. And you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Hang on. Can we just talk about this specific move real quick?
Okay.
Yeah, okay,
Because
do it.
I'm learning a lot about anatomy right now. I'm doing a lot with like physical training and stuff like that. And one of the things that she does, she whips around so fast. She hits them with her ass specifically on this point of their jaw, regardless of where they're standing, what level they're standing on. She's like, poof, and then they're like, and then they just drop and they're done. And this girl has no spine. No way. She is twisting around so fast and whipping her butt at like different angles. None of these women have spines. It drives me insane.
Yes. Which, like, yes, like they're actually hitting in the jaw, but that is actually a place that if you're throwing a punch, you can actually render someone unconscious, hitting them in the jaw area. And so, I always grew up with, older male cousins that would like, wrestle and teach us how to wrestle and teach us how to defend ourselves. And they would always say, hit them in the jaw to knock them out. Hit them up here in the temple to kill them. And like, I never really did the second one, but like, I've never tried the first one either, but that is actually a point where you can render someone unconscious. So there are some accurate physiological things that I guess come into play here. But gatling though, I think, okay, the physics of cutting through air that much with just your hips, which is why I see a bruised tailbone for many, many women in the near future, is just strange.
I'm going to try it later.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was already doing it in the shower and I almost died.
Yeah.
But like these women, they absolutely, they kind of like defy gravity in a way with
They're superpowered.
Yeah, it's almost like a superpower to be able to like move your body in that way. And I will say also with the titty attacks, breast tissue is very, very delicate. You know, I mean, there's a reason women wear sports bras specifically for active movement.
So you're telling me that you couldn't like do a pile driver specifically with like your titties, Casterline?
Okay, that's the only exception.
Shit.
Honestly, that's the only one where like, you know, titties loaded, go. You know, that's like the only one. But overall, I've felt sensations as a woman in my body. You know, where tissue tearing is not fun, and it's actually incredibly painful. You can damage your skin and like permanently damage tissue in certain areas. And so I'm very, very surprised. But I think that I also wanted to touch on the point of the variety of bodies. Although, you know, we are presented in this sport of titty and ass wrestling, and so many of the characters have like juicy ass tits and like fucking meaty asses. There are a few that present themselves and say, you know, I don't really have, you know, the huge breasts and the huge ass. And I was sitting there like, tell me more, sis, because like I feel you. Where do I belong in the Keijo world? I need to know, where do I fit? And so I think that's where the positions of where everyone belongs comes into play. You know, you are a little bit faster.
To quick jump in here so people don't think the show is like written by Gloria Steinem and is like mad woke when it comes to body types. Like
it's not.
Like,
no.
like it's like if sure there's alterations in that, but it's like if you're in the video game character creator and the slider is only like big titty, small titty, big ass, small ass, tall, down. There's not a lot of intricacies on like, does someone carry more fat on their thighs or their arm or their belly or their hips? Like that's not as much what's explored. It's
it's not.
So keep in mind, they are hating each other with their boobs and their butts. That is it. So maybe it's not the most woke thing in the world. Let's just keep that in mind as like the center point of the show.
Absolutely not. It definitely isn't something that's like progressive and highlighting like a social issue in a positive way. But what was that?
No. Continue. Sorry.
Oh no, but I think that what they did, like, I think purposely make sure to clarify was for the positions to work was the need for a variety of body types. Because I think it's unrealistic to say, okay, all the greatest ass fighters only have juicy asses. And it's like, well, what about our bony ass bitches in the back? You know, you got to give them some love. You know, these little tits need love too. And you find almost like the strength and skill that is attached to that.
Right. And actually they talk about that so much. It's such a core part of the show that it's actually the name of a science. Pax, what is the name of the study that goes along with Keijo?
Well, one of those is astronomy, but Cass, what's the other one?
It's boobology.
Yes, astronomy and boobology, I believe.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I wonder how many credits each one of those classes would be if I were to take them. Probably like 3 credit courses each, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Okay.
But so really quick before, because we should definitely talk about like the fact that they're going to school for this. The fact
right.
that it's a school.
It's a school.
It's a school. I wonder if they're taking other classes and they're just not showing
that. It doesn't seem like it. It just seems like they're learning astrology and boobology.
Yeah, I think that's it. When they're not training, which is a whole other montage that we can talk about later.
It's like a military academy almost, the type of lifestyle that they live.
Yes, but specifically, all of the workouts are centered on 2 things. And they are like squats and like running, and that is primarily like you are just building up those cheeks, so you're like double cheeked up on a Thursday.
Yes, and I'm like, yo, these bitches' cardio game is up there.
Oh at a certain point when they're doing squats with a barbell held in between their ass cheeks,
in their assholes.
That's how they're carrying it. That's how they're doing like deadlifts, is by squeezing a barbell in between their ass cheeks.
It's insane. Like you could crack like an iron vise in between those butt cheeks at this point. It's Ludicrous.
Sometimes they
I'm
grab
not
onto
gonna
each
say
other's
that
clothes with the force of their butt cheeks as if it's a vice grip.
Yes. Imagine an ass coming at you and being like, "No, bitch, you're not going anywhere."
Yeah,
just like grabbing you by the shirt, like
becomes like just as viable as your hands. Actually, even more so.
Absolutely.
It's the next step in evolution. It's like some animals don't have movable thumbs, then came primates, and now came the ass clamp humans. But Cass, speaking of this
I'm not
extremely
gonna
powerful ass. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I'm not gonna say that I did a lazy girl booty burn, like, right after this.
Sure.
But I absolutely fucking did.
Sure.
Okay.
But did you do it to the point where you can pick things up now and like throw people to the ground? Can you do that now?
Okay, they were
work on it.
practicing. They were working on what do you call it? Ass jumps or like ass crawling.
There was ass walking.
Yeah, ass walking was like one of the trainings. And,
where they're,
and let
like,
me tell you, I
scooching.
took like 2 ass steps and I realized like this pelvis ain't it for that.
It
Like I'm
doesn't
not
do
built for that
anything.
shit. I need to meet someone who is built for this so that like we can just talk. I need to understand because my ass bones were not loving it.
Okay, but Cass, I needed to pass this your way because you were the one who told me about Cerberus ass.
Sure.
You were the one who told me about Cerberus ass. And Hal, have you gotten to this yet? Because Cass told me to skip ahead to this. It was like episode 5.
So the Cerberus ass, I've seen the Cerberus ass versus the iconic vacuum butt cannon.
Oh,
Which is kind of like when All Might uses like a Brooklyn ball buster against like All for One. It's kind of like a clash of these two, like Rasengan versus Chidori. Tell me about the Cerberus ass, Casterline, because I'm not totally sure about it.
okay, I fell in love with the Cerberus ass because it immediately gave me like Voldemort vibes. You know, it's just like
Avada Kedavra?
like literally this entire being just behind this chick in the form of a dog head of some sort. At first, I was like, "Wait, this is Cerberus," but it kind of looks like a dragon, and it was like the spirit of this Cerberus dog coming out of the ass.
It's like Beyblade style, where like it artistically represents it.
She has a stand.
Yes, like
It's a stand.
But it's so I actually, you know, and I think in Greek mythology, Cerberus was the 3-headed dog that guarded the doors to the underworld. And I was like, wait, so is this fucking Cerberus head like one of the heads, and then like the left ass cheek is supposed to represent like the other fucking head, and the right ass cheek is the third head. So it's just like that's the 3, like the trio motherfucking trifecta.
It's Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon.
It's like fucking Ultimate Dragon, and I lost it because the girl this chick didn't have to look behind her at all. It's like her ass just sensed the movements of the other players. Oh, but this was the same character that was going up against the vacuum butt cannon, right? So then when they're ass to ass, right? One of the characters off to the side says, "Oh, you know, the one that's using the Cerberus, she's actually a little sensitive down south." They show an underneath shot of
Wait, describe. You got to describe first. Cass, you got to first describe what our main character, who is the vacuum butt girl, is doing to Cerberus ass girl, because the Cerberus ass is like sentient. It's like it thinks for itself. It even kind of goes like,
yes, right. Yeah. It's got so the Cerberus ass has a life of its fucking own, and it's opposed to the vacuum butt cannon. Now, the vacuum butt cannon is, you know, you're using all of this physical force to twist your body and twist your hips and basically collect air and shoot it at your opponent so that you can basically annihilate them with just like a vacuum vortex of air coming from your ass. I thought
it's
at first,
an anal
I'm like, is this
Rasengan.
them insinuating?
I was going to say it's a Kamehameha. Okay.
Yeah, very much so. So the vacuum butt cannon going up against this entity of a Cerberus ass.
And there were 2 other people on the platform, and Cerberus ass is knocking people off left and right, doing crazy shit.
Left and right. Right. 2 bitches, those 2 bitches didn't stand a chance. They were off the fucking land immediately, off the floating land in the middle of the pool. They boom into the water. Then then it's finally up to Vacuum Butt Cannon and the Cerberus Ass. And, our main character, their name was, Kaminashi. Kaminashi is performing the Vacuum Butt Cannon, right? And Kaminashi is so passionate as well about being the best. They will win no matter what. And I think we haven't touched upon the fact that there is a regular class and an elite class in the Keijo fighting school. And so at this moment in the series, we're seeing the elite class and the regular class basically go head to head with each other. So there's a lot on the line. You really got to step it up. And this Vacuum Butt Cannon is actually very, very difficult to master. The Cerberus Ass is very much that character's own. I haven't seen another character use it yet. I think it's something that this specific character has been really, really attached to. This character, though, as well, I forget this character's name, but they were also listening to like a podcast or like video show of some sort of these two guys, this romance between these two guys. And she was just obsessed with it. She's like horny for it.
Yeah,
like she's seeing asses in the clouds. Like she sees them fucking like tonguing each other in front of her own eyes. Like it's so fucking vivid for her.
When she's listening to like the gay yaoi audiobook and like imagining these two guys kissing, and it's so interesting because she was born with this like sentient ass that just attacks everybody.
Right. So is there like a puppy shot, like when Cerberus was like a young pup and like was learning, like is that a thing?
No, because that would involve a shot of a child.
That's
well,
true.
I guess these are high schoolers, so it's still weird. But like, she's listening to her like gay lovers audiobook and just like zoning out as her ass is like boom, boom, headshot, pentakill, dead. And as she's listening to the audiobook and she's going, "That's the stuff." Oh,
yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. That was her fucking line.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. And I'm just like, bitch, are you getting off right now? And I'm just nervous for her. I'm like, you got shit to do. You got this bitch on your left. You got this bitch on your right. And she's like, that's the stuff. She had that shit down pat.
And so to bring it back to getting off on that, when I so rudely interrupted you, Casterline, the butts were locked. The butts were locked. It was Vacuum Butt Cannon versus Cerberus Girl. And Vacuum Butt Cannon, what I wanted to mention here is she's using what she's calling like the vibrator ring hips. Where it's like, we all know what a vibring is, but like she's using a technique. And what does it do, Casterline?
And so they're ass to ass, and she starts using this vibrating hip ring and technique against the Cerberus ass. So they're ass to ass, there, meat to meat, and she starts using this vibrating technique. And then you hear the comment off to the side, "Oh, the Cerberus ass, she's actually really sensitive down south." You see an undershot of their vaginas, in the perspective that you're seeing their asses, but you really see their very aligned coochies, because that swimwear is thin and tight and hugging that
lips.
vagina, hugging the vagina so closely, like it's afraid to lose it, like it's afraid to let go. And you see, and she's using it, and you see her vagina fucking quivering. And like, there's a fucking drip. And I'm like,
it's dripping. It's like Niagara Falls down there.
Yes.
Like.
And these bitches haven't fallen in the water yet. So I was like, hold the fuck up. I was like, is this bitch about to cream? And I'm like, things just got interesting. But we go on, and another character clarifies, "Oh yes, well, sensitive down south means that she can sense her opponent's movements with her feet." And I'm like, okay, Toph. Okay, Toph.
Okay, Toph.
Yeah, fucking right. Give me a fucking break. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna, that pussy quiver, it's burned in here. In my brain, it's burned in there. I ain't gonna forget that shit. You ain't gonna let it say it. If I was, 10-year-old, 8-year-old me watching inappropriate shit, I would have been like, okay, she can sense shit with her feet. And I'm just like, can't fucking forget the lips, the vag lips clapping, they were doing its fucking thing. But that's essentially the thing that weakens this opponent, because I think it starts to take her off guard from here on out because of how sensitive she is.
I couldn't imagine why. I couldn't imagine why that would be distracting.
I mean, between the gay lover audio tape and the fucking vibrating ring toss, the vibrating
It's a brutal
hip
combo.
toss.
It's the old 1-2.
Oh, that's the good old,
Yeah.
that's a...
Classic real techniques, vibrating pussy ring no jutsu, all things that we know from Naruto. So I actually want to broaden out here because I think we've given like a good smattering of this. And the thing is, there's literally a fucking 1,000 examples of these. Like we could go on and on about all these examples of like, the butt guillotine and, there was the butt titty hologram in the first episode.
Oh
Do you remember
my God,
butt titty hologram?
yes.
Oh,
Where,
yeah,
like-
it was like the after image technique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God. So let's kind of talk about like what is making this show. Let's first talk about the problematic nature of it, actually, because
Sure,
I think that we should make it explicit because it's like, wow, we're really enjoying this show. The one thing that I kind of want to lead off with is that I was surprised how, because this show's, of course, it's problematic, but it felt like way less of an issue than some anime that I've seen that are like less overtly sexual, but just more just kind of fucked up with power dynamics. And I think the key issue is honestly that, and I didn't anticipate it, there really aren't male characters in this.
No.
There aren't male characters. And so without the presence of the male predatory like gaze and somebody getting off on it, I think it's a lot easier to view this show as just like a kind of like really funny exploration that like that's more easily enjoyable than if it was like for this like leering sexualized like rapey thing, but it's still kind of fucked up in ways. And Cass, I know you had written some stuff about that.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, the only male characters aside from the gay lovers that our beautiful character was imagining in front of her are the characters that you see in the audience watching the Keijo matches. And all you hear from these characters are like screaming and chanting and I did see a few women in the audience, but it was mostly men. And I might even be wrong about that. But it was really, really predominantly men. And then there's talks of men because these characters, around episode 6 or 7 head to Kyoto for a huge match of the East versus the West. And in this match, they have a couple of hours to themselves. And some of the characters are obsessed with going out to explore Kyoto and explore the really fun culture and the food and everything it has to offer, but also to go out and meet guys, which is it was so interesting to me up to this point because I was like, I think this show is so gay. Like the whole time I was like, this show is so gay. And I'm here for them, trying to highlight like gay relationships, but the approach is just not it because so many of these characters, there's so many issues on the female to female level that stood out to me because it's almost how, yes, statistic wise, there's a lot to say about males being predators and such, but that doesn't excuse women. Women are very much predators, just as much as any male. And the reason that this kind of thing doesn't come to light as often is just because of the perspective that we have on women as sexual beings. And then as just people with powers, and hence it's almost this idea that like women can't be predators. And that's so false. We see these characters in their same age group, groping each other up in a way that you can tell that the other character is not particularly enjoying and doesn't particularly consent. And then we go into some of the teachers examining these characters' bodies. So these teachers who are older and coming in and doing a very thorough exam of the ass to make sure that you're improving in your work and that you're getting stronger. And it's just a little too invasive.
It's kind of like being in a acting conservatory almost.
Okay, so fuck. I actually so many times throughout this entire thing kept thinking to myself, like, this reminds me so much of the acting industry, the business of acting, and the educational industry of art and performance theater specifically, because of how hands-on that training is, and because of how much it kind of gets into your head, because of how much you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about who you are in this place, creating this thing, and like what it means to be who you are in your body, which is very much the experience of these characters in the show. Now, that's not to make it seem like this is like some progressive woke shit, like we were saying, because it's fucking not. But that's something that stood out to me a lot, you know, these characters with all of their insecurities, and then just accepting that people are saying like, your body, it like means this strength or it means this weakness, and I have the right to feel your breasts up because you just have such perfect like symmetry or whatever the fuck. And
no, this is purely scientific. This is purely about like anatomical interest. This isn't sexualized. No.
Doing my job.
There's a character that comes in called Rin and immediately feels up this one character, right? The character
at
that's
like super
cute.
speed. She like flashes over.
Assaults
her.
Assaults the fuck out of her, is feeling up her breast. She literally tells her to stop, and I think she orgasms.
Yeah.
I think this girl literally, like, you know, there was, I don't know. Like, that was fucking wild. That was wild.
And it was just like, yep, this is happening. This is the thing. And everyone's just like,
Everyone's just like, all right. Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
She's okay. She'll be fine.
Yeah, and we're not saying that like the answer to this is like complete puritanism where it's like never touch your friends, but like maybe get consent. Like, is that even
also,
possible
they
in this
weren't
world? Like,
friends. It was legitimately they didn't know each other. In fact, they were actually enemies at the time. They were in two different classes. She didn't do that because she was like, "Hey, you want to have a little fun right now in front of all of our friends and peers?" No, it was very much like, "I'm going to do this to put you in your place right now."
To assert my dominance.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was to assert dominance, and I was like shook. I was shook watching this, and everyone was just like, "Yeah, all right."
no, I mean, it's like, imagine if like Goku and Vegeta, if like they were about to fight and Vegeta just went ahead and like slipped 3 fingers up his ass and went like, "Do you like that Kakarot?" Like, you know, it's like, that's not, it's never acceptable, dude. Like, he's like, "I'm playing mind games on you, Kakarot." Like, oh god. This show's such a piece of shit, but I think I like it.
I know, it's like upsetting because I think that I actually like, there are some things that I thoroughly dislike, and I don't think this is one of them, and I think it's kind of like hard to say that because of all the problematic nature of it, but I think that if people watch it, they will understand why.
So I feel like we've talked a lot about, you know, a lot of the problems of the show. Were there any like good parts? Any parts
all
that,
of
like,
it.
you guys really
All of
liked?
it.
The whole fucking
like,
thing.
That's the hard thing, is we're talking about all of these things that, yes, they are absolutely problems in the show. But I think one thing that you said, Pax, was just talking about the fact that there aren't really any male characters, is that there isn't this predatory feel throughout the entire show. I feel like this is a show, and you could disagree with me, that is just so outlandish and so obscene that it like leans into it as hard as it can, which is what makes it easier to laugh at it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, it's not one of those shows where it's like, it's actually trying to take itself seriously. It's not like, oh, no. Like, this is totally fine. Like, you can totally write this off. It's like, no, the writers are saying, yeah, no, this is fucked up, and we're doing this because it's fucked up, and it's funny. It's not like one of those shows that are like, no, like the first episode of Goblin Slayer.
Oh yeah. We'll
like
talk
that,
about that
and you know what I'm
so
talking about. But we'll talk about that later. But it's like one of those that's like, you're not supposed to take this seriously because it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely. But that said, you saying that was such good insight. I think that hit on something that I think can unlock a lot of this, which is that this is the first anime of a particular genre that we all know about, but I haven't seen an anime with that. And I think that genre is exploitation. It's like an exploitation film. Like if you're watching like a black exploitation film like Pootie Tang or some shit like that, that is almost the same vibe where it's like heinously ridiculous subject material. You know, that would be so problematic if the show's message was like, this is how life should be. And yet it's like pure dumb fun, despite all of like the really fucked up subject material in it. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I think that a big part of something that really, really stood out to me that seems to be a big part of this is I think the ass and titty play is almost like a leeway for bringing up a lot of other subject matter. Mm-hmm. So like bringing up power dynamics mm-hmm. and bringing up also the, I think in education, right? In becoming a professional, because these characters are all aiming to go pro, and what it means to immerse yourself into something that you love so much to become a professional. But what are you learning in an educational aspect versus what's actually in the real world? And I think that's something that you can see parallels for in not just the performance world, but in all careers. You know, I don't think that, or at least from what I know of a lot of experiences of any career path, you know, I've heard it from people who've studied to be doctors, from people who have studied to be lawyers and such, that what you're learning in the classroom isn't always going to go hand in hand with what's actually happening out in the real world. And we actually see that, but highlighted with Keijo instead. So they're learning all of these things and they're accepting certain kind of treatment because it's like, oh yeah, well, this is just our educational platform and this is what, you know, this is what it is. But then when they meet pros and they see what they're doing, they're just like, holy shit, in 6 months, I'm supposed to be on their level? Like, how am I supposed to get there now? You know, like, it's almost like, oh, this isn't adding up. It's not adding up how I'm supposed to progress at this school to be who I am, who I'm supposed to be so that I can be a professional and be able to go head to head with these people. So as much as an educational experience is like necessary, I think it's also highlighting how a lot of it is really about going out into the world and just doing shit. You just gotta go and do shit. And if you don't go out and do shit, you're gonna feel like you don't know how to do shit. Even though you have a whole educational background, you're gonna feel like you don't know what the fuck you're doing unless you go out there and you just put yourself out there for the ass play.
Ass first.
As Confucius said,
ass first. So now that we've sort of discussed, you know, the setting, all of the intricacies of this really, really complex and deep show. Speaking of going out into the world and doing this, if each of us had like 8 weeks, what was it? 6 weeks? Casterline, is that what it was? 6 weeks?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
If each of us had like 6 weeks to go out and become a pro Keijo player, what would be our positions individually? Like, what would we each play on our team?
Right. Wait, so let's describe them again. So the infighter is about speed.
Infighter is about strength. It's about like getting in close and using your strength.
Right. And then outfighter is about speed.
Yes.
And then counter is about like big attacks.
I think it's about like judo. It's
like judo.
Basically synonymous with judo. Just using your opponent's momentum against them and countering them when they attack.
Sure. I don't know. Do y'all have any ideas of what positions y'all would be in? Or should we just give each other ratings of what
let's do that. That's fun.
Should we just fucking...
Okay, cool. So, Pax, do you want to go first?
Yeah, about giving y'all these things?
Yeah. Give us our spots, coach.
Yeah, please.
This reminds me of when I went to like the Pride Center at one point. They were doing like an STD like awareness thing, and I told my friend I would go. Not to be like, hey, you gotta learn, but it was like something that like he was hosting, and an exercise that was happening there was like people pasting like Post-it notes to each other's back with like, what position do you think the other person is? Like top, bottom, top verse, bottom verse, true versatile, and like it was I think meant to show like. And I think it was meant to show more like, hey, here's how like our preconceived notions of each other could be incorrect. But it way more came across as like, hey, yeah, you look like a
let's
fucking
think about each other.
Yeah,
let's imagine that.
So that's what this is gonna be like. Hal, I think you'd be judo ass.
Yeah,
you're lithe. You're the counter. I think is what I would give you. And I don't know, Cass. It's hard because you are a master of all things ass. But I guess I'd give you infighter. You're pretty strong and dominating. I think you could do that. What do you think?
Thanks. I think that sounds really hot, and I'll take it.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Okay, so Cass, rate the other hosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
What a weird episode to be our first video on too. Like we are getting immediately demonetized, like for sure. We're not going to talk about ass titty hypnosis and fucking like the head of Google's going to be like, stamp it. Great, good to go.
Great. FBI list. Let's put it on.
Yeah. Sorry. So Cass.
Okay, so actually, I actually see Pax very much as a judo, as a counter.
Oh, interesting.
So yes, just because I have roughhoused with you before and you a bitch, like, and you're just like,
yeah, you're right.
like, you're like, I think I roughhoused with you once where like you almost like took my own hand and made me smack myself or something. And like the only other fucking time that's like happened to me is like with my older cousins, like bullying the fuck out of me. And like,
Pax is a bully. Pax is a bully.
Pax is a bully.
Oh no, I'm getting canceled on our first video episode.
And I don't want anyone to be concerned about Pax and I throwing hands because it's all out of love, because, we like fool around and we like fuck around and throw a chair across the room and then we like sit down and like snuggle and like eat tofu and it's great. And Hal, I actually see you as an infighter.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because
He can get angry. I can see it.
Okay. And this is why, because as an infighter, I think as much as it is about strength, I think that you have to be very, very precise with your movements if you're going to get in such close proximity. And I know that from my combat training, the closer you are, the quicker and stronger you got to be. Because once it's like that idea in theater, it's like kiss or kill. You got to make a choice. If you're that close to someone, you're either going to kiss them or you're going to kill them. And I think that I can definitely see you like making really quick attacks.
Right, kissing and then killing them.
Right. Being smart enough to use your strength in close proximity.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. So Hal, fuck, marry, kill. What's your turn?
All right, fuck, marry. Let's do it. You know what, Pax? I also see you as a big counter energy. Because similar to the conversation we had about our stands and what powers they would be. I remember you talked about your stand potentially being like one that would beat the shit out of you while simultaneously making you a better person.
Hell yeah.
So like you would take physical damage, but your mental trauma would heal like that.
Yeah.
And
that's
I
like
could
the ass
see you very
whoopings I
much
got as a
being
kid.
like you're out on that floaty wipeout-esque stage, and someone comes up to you and they're like, "You're going down, Pax. I'm hitting you with the vacuum butt cannon." And you're just be like, "No, you," and throwing them overboard as they try to take you out. I can just see you being very gently like, pick you up, put you down.
I ideally would like my ass technique to be almost like the scene in SpongeBob when like Patrick goes to like touch his toes and like he puts his like little starfish arms all the way around his back down and then touches his toes that way, like he stretches his arms. I would want like my ass cheeks to be like mobile, like almost like Mrs. Fantastic, like to be detached where I'm standing 20 feet away from you and then suddenly it's like it's like boom, floating ass snake.
Oh my god, fuck yes. When I was a little kid, I always had this image when people said the term "calm your titties," a vivid image of just breasts extending and wiggling in the air. That's always popped into my mind, and I totally created that image for myself. It's not a real thing. I've never seen it.
I'm there with you. So we talked about our positions now. Hal, you guys.
Wait, what about mine?
Yeah, I didn't get to tell her hers.
Jesus fucking
Calm your
Christ,
titties, Pax.
Get it? A fucking grip.
Casterline, I feel like you would be an excellent outfighter. I feel like you would be one of those people who would be like standing on the other side of the ring, and I'd be like sitting there thinking like, okay, I haven't been able to see Casterline's technique yet, but I bet if I'm able to get in close, and suddenly you're gone. Nani? And then you're behind me already, and I'm like, ugh, getting hit from the back. I can see that you very much being like an omewa shinderu type. I can very much see that
This
from you.
is the power that I
just
need.
suddenly disappearing and appearing, and I'm already in the water. That's what
I'm
I
gonna
see
change
from
my
you.
answer to that too, because Casterline is like devious. She likes scaring motherfuckers. She's just like can really come at you and like out of nowhere.
You've
just
got like a grin the whole time, and suddenly I'm unconscious.
Cass has hidden places and tried to scare me several times.
I think there would be a lot of joy in doing that. And funnily enough, I scare people all the fucking time just by accident because apparently people don't hear me walk into the room sometimes.
Oh, God.
And I'll just like be there and everyone's like, where the fuck did you come from?
You're
and I'm like,
Batman.
I'm like, bitch, I've been here. Where are you? Like, what the fuck? Like,
Hell yeah. So I feel like we're reliving our combat days of doing stage combat together and like, living that life.
Totally. So fun. So fun though. I think that's something that also, like, with thinking and comparing this to the theater world, I've compared a lot of the fighting to that. And I've just thought about fucking Steve Vaughn as like an instructor and how blessed we were to have such a great combat instructor in college, because these fucking instructors in this show are awful. They are like the worst humans ever. They're so fucked up. And then we have the alluring siren, which is almost like treated like a headmaster of this school. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, almost like the Trunchbull. Yeah, the alluring siren who once, back in her day, was, just as the name says, alluring and a siren, and fucked shit up.
Solid description there, Cass.
But then, like... I couldn't fucking help it. Fuckers. But the fact that she immediately is just so quick to shit on everyone, and I'm pretty sure she's shitting on the elite class too, not just the regular class. It seems like she's just fucked up to everyone, and I respect her for that, because she's like, I fucking hate you all equally, and that's the kind of bitch I like. I fuck with her.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
Hell yeah. So we've covered a lot of ground here, right? I think that this is just like flowed so well. God, I just want to go back and watch more fucking Keijo. I can't believe it.
I might. And it's hard because I feel like I'm watching so many different shows at once now. And I was like, I'm watching My Hero Academia while simultaneously watching Keijo. I feel like Keijo is My Hero Academia's Wario,
Oh my
God. Yes.
What a comparison. That's hilarious.
So it's kind of whack for me to go from like watching Deku learn how to control One for All while simultaneously watching Keijo and watching someone master the vacuum butt cannon. I'm like, I think these things are comparable. I think one could definitely clash.
But here's the thing: which has the better fights?
I don't know yet.
Because I'm not sure that it's clearly My Hero. There's a lot of really good fights in here. And there's something about the energy, the fluidity, like a ton of money looks like it went into these fights. Like it's
just ridiculous. Like the last fight I watched was episode 4, The Battle for the Fastest Butt. And it was like, they were going at the two fastest characters were like going at it and trying to figure out whose speed is better, mine or hers. And so they were like clashing. The butt Gatling came into play. Our hero, I can't remember her name, is like getting pushed back, and she's like, I've only got 30 seconds left. Time to activate my secret technique. And I'm like, oh boy, what's the secret technique gonna be? You know what she does, Pax? You know what she does, Casterline? She gives herself a wedgie. That is it. And I think she calls it the G acceleration. And poof, green light appears and she's gone. And
that's Rock Lee, dude. That's Rock Lee all over again. It's Rock Lee dropping the armor.
Yes, she's Rock Lee giving himself a wedgie and just giving, oh my God.
Let me dig this latex into my labia and just go.
And they explain it. They're just like, hey, like the people on the sidelines are like, whoa, how is she going so fast all of a sudden? She didn't have that speed a second ago. And they're like, well, swimsuits, no matter what size they are, they add a little bit of constriction to the hips and it allows for freer movement. So suddenly, like giving yourself a wedgie lets you move at like 120 miles per hour.
Yes.
You're just there. That extra bit, that would be like me shaving my head and becoming the Flash.
Get rid of the wind resistance, baby. Oh my God. Fuck.
And fuck.
It's amazing. It's amazing because they don't care. They're like, whatever. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to. Have fun.
So with all this shit, are there any other little last things we want to mention about Keijo? Things that like we want to inform the audience of, things that we've loved about the show?
Titty hypnosis.
Bitches
you wanted to talk about that, Pact.
Titty hypnosis?
Yeah.
I just said I can't wait to get to this like in the show because I saw Casterline wrote like titty hypnosis, massages, Cerberus butt, things bitches do for gelato, spinning rabbit hip. It's all look amazing. I'm excited for Butt Wind Sandstorm.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. I made it to that. That's later on in the episodes. Y'all will get to it eventually, the Butt Wind Sandstorm. Okay. And when I tell you that the final position of that move was literally like one ass just laying on like someone's fucking chest, and they're just like on the fucking floor like it's a crime scene. Like, it's incredible. It's just insane, the extreme that it went to. I loved it so much. But there's so many, like, I mean, obviously so much sexual, like, innuendo and everything in here. Because they also had the spinning rabbit hip. And every time there's anything rabbit or bunny, I, like, see how there's, like, a sexual highlight behind it because of this idea that, like, you know, bunnies fuck a lot in their life and they reproduce like fucking crazy. And it is a fact. You know, it's like, I think some people even consider it like, it's like, that's their one fucking goal is like, let's fuck as much as possible and make these fucking babies, you know? So the spinning rabbit hip just seems like a total sexual attack.
But not the titty hypnosis. The titty hypnosis doesn't.
Oh my God, titty
See,
hypnosis.
for me, that guy.
All right. So, you know, in this show, we see our characters constantly have conversations about these grand prizes that they can win as professionals. And these are money prizes. And you get them from, yes, winning matches, but also from mastering certain things. I think, what is it called? You can become like a prize queen or something like that. I think
like a size queen?
Like
Did
a
they say
size
prize
queen. Yeah, they say
God.
something like that. You're like the prize queen for mastering certain moves. And so our lead character, Kaminashi, she discovers that she has the power to be able to execute the vacuum butt torch
Cannon.
move. Vacuum. The torch.
Come on.
The vacuum butt cannon. She sees that that's something that her body's really capable of. And her teacher mentions that that's a move that has a great monetary prize behind it for whoever masters it. And her life lights up. And it's almost like throughout this whole thing, she has such a determination, a great perseverance to become the best that she can possibly be. And I wonder, is it fueled by this idea of winning this money, or is it out of the passion for the art, or what art there is to this craft of Keijo fighting? So I don't know. I wonder, like, what is it that's fueling it? Is it the money, or is it the ass play? You know, and I think that's a button that we haven't gotten to because we haven't seen the ending yet. But I'm hoping that they will clarify.
Can we put that on a t-shirt though? Is it the money or is it the ass play?
Is it the money?
I love that. I think that can go on a card.
One might help you get the other. Who knows?
Yeah, true.
But yeah, no, that's a great question. And the thing is, we probably won't even have a firm answer by the end of the season because this season does not cover all of Keijo at all. It's like the first couple volumes of Keijo, and then it only continues in the manga. So maybe we'll have to get reading it too. But yeah, I think that it's very interesting. Like almost the way we'll look at people who try to do something for money. Instead of like for doing it for the love of the game, man, you know, because one of my favorite rappers ever, MF Doom, was very effusive about being like, yeah, I only do this for money. Like I only do this. Like I would accept a fucking Fanta sponsorship if it paid me $1 million and I'd never rap again. Like, you know, and that's totally fine because he's still one of the greatest artists ever. But, I think the main character seems more in it for the money, right?
Which is like, okay. I personally feel like it depends on what you think her priority should be. Just because her motivation is money doesn't mean that that's not relatable. It doesn't mean that that's not understandable, that it's not something worth striving for. Because let me tell you, if someone told me like, hey, Hal, if you take up TNA fighting, you'll get $1 billion, I would put on a swimsuit in a heartbeat.
I actually think I would too. I'm just like,
yeah,
degrade me.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't care because I'm gonna be a billionaire. Like, what?
Cass, is the TV project you're working on the live action Keijo for Netflix? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, actually. Spoiler alert.
Damn, sorry,
coming
broke
to
the
Netflix
NDA
soon. So
Oh God.
But then you see characters like Alba, not to cut you off, Pax, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But you see characters like Alba, like ready to leave because they feel out of place. And I think something that you talked about, Pax, was how this character felt insecurity because of their dialect, which was a really nice, like little thing that they had in there. But clearly the feeling of feeling like diminished was stronger than this particular character's desire to be a winner or be a millionaire or be rich. It was almost like it degraded them too much. It made them feel way too small, and it wasn't something they were really they were willing to compromise.
Yeah, and it was such a great teenage moment too, because this person like had clammed up for like 2 straight episodes, all because someone else in her room said something like really lighthearted, just being like, wow, you all have such funny dialects. Like you have such funny accents. And it seemed lighthearted at the time, but this girl internalized it. And you find out 2 episodes later, that's why she hasn't been speaking, because she's so self-conscious. That's extremely relatable for me. Yes, I've had plenty of moments like that in life where I'm like, oh, that lives inside of me now.
Totally.
Yeah.
And this specific character eventually finds their own strength in their physical nature with like their hand being able to sense all of the strengths in a person's body. And then the Alba gives every single person at this school like a massage because they are secretly sensing with their hand everything that is happening in these other characters' muscles and their bodies and what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and creates like a documents all of this in this like book and kind of like as a resource to know how to defeat every single individual opponent. I wonder if that's cheating. I wonder if that's cheating.
Yeah, go ahead, Hal, go ahead.
I go insane over this power that she has, this secret ability that she has, which I forget what she calls it, but what it is it's like synonymous with like Kakashi being the mirror ninja, being like the copy ninja, saying like, if I see you use your technique once, I will be able to copy it for like the rest of my life. All I have to do is see you do it one time, and I will remember how to do it for the rest of my life. And she's kind of similar to that, where she like, by touching you, she's able to later refer to your abilities by reaching out with her hand, like to the side, up, down, wherever, and all of these butts appear like in the ether.
Oh my God.
She's the only one that can see them. And all she has to do is like touch them and like activate this person's special technique. And then she can copy it like perfectly.
My God. It's like anal Rain Man.
It's insane. Which brings me to the other amazing part of Keijo, which is like, if you haven't seen multiple other shows, you're gonna miss so many references. Like there's an Attack on Titan reference in all of these, like in some of these attacks. There's I think it's called Butt Tack on Titan. I think that's what the move is called. Which is just insane. There's like references to, JoJo's with the Cerberus. There's references to like Dragon Ball, like One Piece. All of these different shows, all of these different moves come from different shows. And if you don't see it, if you don't know these shows, you're not going to get them.
Right.
But I think it's funny just how ridiculous the show is, because it's actually taking bits and pieces from all these other really, really popular iconic shows and making itself more popular by using it, which is synonymous with this character's ability of like, oh, I'm just going to like look at this, take that down, I'm going to use that later, that one thing. And I love that about this show, that it is just absurd, because it's like, we don't give a fuck. We don't give a shit. We're going to use this show. It's going to be insane, whatever. And I lose my mind.
And that's why it's so effective in just grabbing us in, because they add things that have already been used in the past and that were effective. And these qualities are things in anime that are really eye-catching and are really like stimulating for your mind. And you see them and you're like, wow, even though the general like feel for this thing is not particularly something that I may agree with, they're executing it really well.
Yeah.
And that's really, it's like the delivery versus the content. Like you can be delivering shit content, but if you're delivering it well, anyone's going to buy that shit and people are going to listen. And I personally don't think this is shit content compared to shit content that's actually out there, you know, because there is a lot out there that you really are just like, red flag, no, can't fuck with this. We should absolutely just know this off the interweb completely. And I don't even think that this goes as far to like need that, but yeah.
No, totally. And I mean, one really quick, I wanted to mention that Alba's massages reminded me of a certain overly touchy masseuse teacher we had at our school. You know, the one who would give a lot of unprompted massages to the female students. So
Facts.
that vibe with me with the shitty teacher thing, but also talking about the fact that it's not shitty content. Did you guys ever read a book called Zombie Butts from the Planet Uranus?
No.
When you were kids? This was like this is a book, Zombie Butts. It's by a guy named Andy Griffiths. And he has like The Day My Butt Went Psycho, you know, and a whole series of like books that are entirely predicated on really juvenile humor and butt puns. And that is oddly what I feel like this show totally is in terms of its humor. And there's the whole element of like ecchi humor. It's this perverted humor. And it seems just a lot more like juvenile, dumb fun than it does sex. And let me know if this is relatable at all, because I could be wrong. This show felt like very unsexy to me in a way that I wasn't really anticipating, because it was so, I don't want to say gross, but it was just so ridiculous with its approach to the subject matter that it didn't really seem like it was like a sexy thing I was watching. I was like, wow, this is the most hilarious dumb shit I've seen in my life. Like, anyone get horned up watching this? I don't know. Reveal yourselves.
Not really, because it was just like, it was weird. I felt like I was supposed to, but at the same time, like, it was just so crazy and so ridiculous that I was like, I can't. It's like,
Yeah.
Right. It's like it's too comical for you to like
funny.
get onto it. It's like you're approaching the sexy and then they make it a little bit too absurd.
It's not coy. Like,
Right.
being coy is sexy. If you're gonna try, like, that's what I think is one of the biggest problems when it comes to a lot of shows, is like the weird camera angles, the outfits, all of that stuff. Like, it's presenting it to you without mentioning it. It's kind of like, it would be like if I told you a joke and then winked at you. If I like had a joke in a
Sure.
TV show and then winked at the camera. That's what Keijo does. It's very much like, hey, look at this stuff. Ain't it funny? And it's just
Right.
like, you're like, yeah.
And they're expecting you to be like, yeah.
But I don't think they are. I think they're intentionally doing it so that it's like, it like softens the blow a little bit. I don't know. Am I making that? Am I making sense?
Yeah,
I think you
totally.
are making sense. And yeah, and I find that a lot of the moments that are supposed to be outwardly funny just turn out to be very young and cute, and which adds to the teenagery vibe of the whole thing.
So Cass, did you expect to like this fucking show? Because like, was this your first anime?
No, I've watched anime
Okay,
before.
thank God.
No, I have watched anime before, and I can't say that I'm like a professional or anything, or I've watched a bajillion, because I have not. But I am a lover of good TV and good films, and and so like I didn't expect myself to enjoy this insane topic as much, but I also kind of just went into it with an open mind, you know, and I think that that's something very, very important with whoever is a listener and is thinking about watching the show. Is I immediately thought that you kind of got to have thick skin and a really crass sense of humor to be able to get down with a show like this. Because from jump, I said like, ooh, this is problematic. But like, I went with it because I do have a really crass sense of humor. And I did find a lot of things like really, really funny and kind of just like out there, and outwardly poking fun at things was really, really effective for stimulating me. And so I think that it won't, though, for everyone. I think people that might see this might think that it is really, really offensive, and in a lot of ways it is. But a lot of people, I think, may take it to heart as an attack on women, or an attack on athletes, or whichever way they want to take it. And I don't think that's particularly the point. I think the point is, like Pax had mentioned, exploitation. exploiting these young women, exploiting athleticism for women, exploiting like a teacher system, a power dynamic, exploiting all of these things. So if you go into it with an open mind, you're going to catch these things. But if you go into it and then immediately allow your brain to tighten up and be like, nope, then I think you're going to receive it completely differently.
Totally. And so actually at this point, I've just received some troubling communication that I would like to present to the court, if I may. Judge, may I? Judge Casterline?
Here.
So Hal, it seems as if I have found a Facebook message from you that says, and I quote, "Yo, Keijo is bad." It says, "Yo, Keijo is bad, lol." Would you like to explain what the fuck you meant by that to the court before we kick you off of this show? What the fuck was that all about?
Yeah, the fuck.
So I'm going to be honest. That was while I was watching the first episode. And what I mean when I say that it's bad is that it is intentionally being bad. It was deliberately being bad. And it was like, as I wrote that, I wrote the LOL. If you look back at the text, that was a real LOL. That wasn't just me exhaling air from my nose like a funny. That was me actually laughing because I was like, this is absolutely deranged, and it's bad, and I'm gonna watch it anyway.
Okay, I accept that. Judge, how do you feel?
I accept it as well. Along with the points that you've touched upon before, I think that you have enough to back your argument. So,
okay, cool. So I'm not being executed today.
Oh no! We're still gonna kill you.
Yeah,
but
no.
I'm like,
you're gonna. Casterline's going to do the literal titty twister, in which Cass does a somersault so quickly that the centrifugal force of her titties form a hurricane and blast through you, like Inuyasha style, just like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hal, remember when you said that I'd be like a great infighter? I'm at your door right now.
God.
Right. She's already there. This has been recording the whole time. You got played.
I'm fucking knock, bitch. It's me.
Oh, God. All right. Well, this has been amazing. Is there anything else we wanted to kind of bring up in relation to Keijo?
I think so.
I think, something to take away from this is, though we may disagree that this is a show about friendship and perseverance.
It is.
I think that, as long as you got your friends and you have the willpower to go forward and be the best you can possibly be, your ass and your titties can do anything you put your fucking mind to.
Absolutely.
Period. No drama.
Period. Done. So, with that said, I think we're good to close up for today. But first, Cass, thank you so much for coming on. This has been amazing.
We had such a good time with you.
Yes.
This has been one of my favorite episodes ever. You are amazing, Cass. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. And I've been so excited to come on here. And I've heard your stuff with other people and I've been thoroughly jealous. And so thank you so much, because now I can squash the sour taste in my mouth and just continue loving you all.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad we squashed the beef here on Brotakus. We deaded it.
Yeah.
Everything is good.
Buried the hatchet.
No beef.
And Cass, when we find another equally passionate show about friendship and magic, can we have you on again?
Absolutely. I would love to. I'm very, very passionate of all things absurd and all things fucked up and wrong. So let's fucking talk about it. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Right,
let's go.
Absolutely. To everyone out there, thank you all so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or review us on your favorite podcasting app. It really does make a difference, and every review counts. And I'm going to say that again. Every review counts. It means a lot to us, and we will definitely give you a shout out on the air next time to show our appreciation.
Y'all heard him. 5 stars, yo.
5 stars.
5 stars, baby.
All right, I'm Hal.
Boom! Record scratch. No, because Hal, I need to quickly mention. Fuck the outro. Because we're on video now, yo. We're on video now, yo. So you better subscribe to. We're probably gonna get Brotakus podcast to YouTube. If not, check the show notes. We're gonna figure it out. Hal's gonna whip that up. But subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the bell as well. Give us a like. Share that shit. If you have friends who just like video stuff, do that, because we're gonna be uploading cool clips there. We're gonna be uploading some auxiliary shit, full episodes from here on out.
Our personal Keijo training montage. We're gonna be putting that out too.
Absolutely.
Ooh, yes, exactly. We will be demonstrating.
You'll see us double cheeked up. It'll be a great time.
You're gonna see me caked up trying to twirl my ass or flap my ass cheeks like Dumbo's wings to lift myself off the ground. We're gonna be practicing. Shit! Oh my god!
Fucking like majestic.
Yeah, just twerking like a thunderclap or a shotgun shell, like just boom, boom. But so please check us out on YouTube. Hit us up on Facebook as well. I'm so sorry to interrupt, Hal, but like evolution of Brotakus, baby. Next step in world domination. Next step.
Yep. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much. We're the Brotakus, and we'll see you next time.
See
Bye,
y'all,
y'all.
people. Bow, 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 bow.
See ya.